what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of FlagPlus Football's First and Goal podcast. I'm your host, Brent Bodkin.
And I'm Quaysie Maule.
All right, so semifinals are here. It's an exciting time. In some cases, it's the Final Four for most divisions. Obviously, championship weekend is coming up next weekend. So it's going to be super exciting, obviously. And FPF, the greatest time of the year. Championship, like I said, is coming up. Teams are getting ready. But again, before we get there, like we said, semifinals are here. So let's get into it right away. We're going to start with 6B. So in 6B, we have a little bit of a, I don't want to say a doozy, but like we look at it, right? Final four teams to the left. We have Hope Patrol, the 11th seed, against the number 2 seed, the Skrillas. And we also have, so looking at it here, we have the Stables, the number 3 seed, taking on the Ballers. Now, if you're wondering how both these teams got here, Hope Patrol, again, the 11th seed, they knocked off the number 1 seed, the Pookie Bears, last week, 33-18. So congrats to Hope Patrol again. Just because you finished first place in the regular season doesn't mean you can automatically punch your ticket to the finals, right? So big victory again for Hope Patrol over the Pookie Bears you see right there on your screen, right? Charles Olivier Thieverge, 5 touchdown passes in the game. Marc-Andre Shaw caught 3 of them, right? So obviously big time performance by that duo there. You look at the other side, Xavier Chalui, 3 touchdown passes, which isn't bad, but 3 INTs really came back to bite his team. And again, upset central right there, courtesy of Hope Patrol.
Yeah, it's exactly it. You also see that you didn't really throw for that many yards either. You went 11 for 23, 101 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 INTs. So it seems like he didn't throw the ball as much. Also doesn't help with 3 INTs and kind of cuts off the drive. But yeah, huge job for Hope Patrol coming in the first half too, being up 20-6, feeling like you're kind of in control. And the second half, they also won the second half as well too, winning 13-12. So big upset for them. I'm sure they're pretty happy. As you were kind of saying, they are in the 11th seed, So it's not a lot. It's not a lot of times where you see 11th seed knock out the number 1 seed, going to the quarterfinals. So that's one big upset that we had so far in Division 6B.
100%. Looking at the other matchup, so how the Skrillers got to the semifinals, they knocked off. So Skrillers again, the number 2 seed, so they were the favorites. They took on the number 10 seed Maule, 27-14 victory for the favorites in that contest. So I don't want to say an easy victory, but they won by 2 touchdowns. Really solid defensive performance, right? Holding their opponents, pardon me, to only 14 points. So that's something obviously in the postseason. We always say, right, defense wins championships, and we see right there the Skrillers really proving that true. Again, holding their opponents to only 2 touchdowns in that victory. Looking at the stats really quickly in this one, I mean, yeah, 2 touchdowns and 7 INTs, right, from Maule quarterback Alex Boyd, right? 7 INTs is a lot of INTs, right? So credit to the Skrillers defense leading the way. So they had 3 players with 2 picks quickly. It was James Levitsky, Aiden Lasry, and Eric Misak. Each of those players had 2 INTs each. Levitzik returned one to the house, and as did Misak. So congrats to those boys again. 7 INTs is you can hang your hat on that one. And like we said, once again, defense wins championships, and right there, proving it why, right? 27 lead at the half for the Skrillers. They got outscored 14-0 in the second half, but they didn't really need to do anything. Right? When you get 7 INTs, you don't have to do too much offensively.
Yeah. Do you see the offensive stats of both the quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Eric Masak, 3 for
Yeah.
4, 24 yards,
Yeah.
1 touchdown. And then you have
Yeah.
Saj Sage at 6 for 15 yards, 1 touchdown. So like in a lot of
So
situations, it's kind of like
yeah.
like in most situations, sometimes quarterbacks throw 1 pass for 24 yards,
Yeah.
as well as
Yeah.
1 pass
Yeah.
for 15 yards. So these guys barely threw the ball. They did get 2 pick sixes, which kind of makes the reason why the score is what it is. But it's kind of insane. If you're telling me, oh, by the way, Skrillers are gonna beat Mobiles, but both their quarterbacks are gonna throw for less than 30 yards and each have 1 touchdown, I'm like, how is that even possible? But again, that defense coming down with 7 INTs is it's pretty big. It kind of basically means like every single time Mobile got a stop, they pretty much caught Skrillers. Anytime I'm assuming every time that Skrillers got an INT, I'm assuming it was either a pick six or it was very close towards the end zone, towards the red zone for Skrilla's into Mobile's red zone. That's the reason why the stats are how.
Yeah, I mean that could definitely explain that. I mean, hey, listen again, like looking at that quarterback play, right? Eric, Misiak, and Sash Singh, like these guys, they went like 9 of 19 for 35 yards. Sorry, 39 yards. Sorry, 39. I don't want to short them. 9 of 19 for 39 yards. They had 2 touchdown passes. I mean that's not bad, I guess. Again, when your defense does what it needs to do like that, you're able to kind of cruise to the victory there. A bit of a disappointing end to the season there for Maule Ball. Again, Maule Ball, looking at these guys. I mean, okay, they had a 4-6 record. But they made some noise in the playoffs, and the quarterback, and that's been the thing about Alex Boyd, right? I mean, he had 23 touchdown passes in the regular season, but he also had 24 INTs, right? And as you say, playoffs or not, right? You have to protect the ball, and again, 24 INTs in a regular season. Come playoff time, you throw 7, right? So I mean, that's almost a quarter of the INTs right there. So
We went.
yeah, maybe Mobile again. I believe they're kind of a newish team here in FPF. So I mean, a learning experience. They made the playoffs, right? So I mean, at least there's that, and they can improve on their 4-6 record. Just maybe Alex Boys can get out now. I mean, now that they're not playing, get some practices in, work on the accuracy, and maybe come up with some better plays or something, and try to build on some of the success they had. Because again, they made the playoffs, right? So I mean, it's not as if they were like an 0-10 team. Just they gotta fine tune some of the shortcomings they have
Yeah,
on offense.
100%. If he cuts out all those INTs, I mean, sometimes it's unfortunate how something happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a mispat, it's an overthrown, it's a bobble, and sometimes it's out of your hands. But if he could cut down on those INTs and he throws maybe one or two in that game, I'm sure it would have been way closer. Maybe they even win. But again, throwing 7 INTs, it's impossible to win a playoff game. Throwing 7 of those.
That's it. I'm just looking at the regular season schedule here, right? A couple out of the 6 losses that they had, pardon me, 6 losses that they had, it's about 3 of them are all 1 possession games, right? So again, you cut even if you throw half the INTs, if you get it from like 24 to 12, right? I mean, chances are you don't finish 4-6, right? Chances are this team could probably finish maybe, I don't know, 6-4, you know what I mean, or maybe even 7-3. But again, you gotta cut down on those INTs.
Yeah, exactly. Because right now, I
Uh,
think he's averaging about two. He's averaging two a game. So if you could cut down to one, it's a whole different story.
yeah, well, I think. Well, hold on. I think it's averaging more than 2 a game, right? Because I mean, yeah, he had
Well, it's
24,
not.
right, in
It's
the
like
regular
two or
season.
it's 2 or 3. It's like two, one game two, one game three. 24.
Yeah.
It's two a game plus one, one, one. So one game he maybe throws three. Out of the 10 games, 4 of them he throws 3 INTs. The rest should be two around those lines.
By the
Sometimes
way,
they're probably
it's
it probably
yeah, it's a
fluctuates.
lot of INTs.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of INTs.
Less
All right. The
INTs.
other matchup we have, so we have the number 3 seed, the Stables. Again, that's my pick to win it all. I said this multiple times this season. Taking on the number 5 seed, the Ballers. Um, the Stables got here by beating the number 9 seed, the Nard Dogs, 42-24. The Ballers knocked off Vicious and Delicious, so a battle of 5 and 4. So an upset, 4 seed Vicious and Delicious falling 31-12 at the hands of the Ballers. Looking at these two teams, Stables and Ballers, they did not meet in the regular season. Entering the playoffs, the Stables had won 5 out of the last 6 games. The only loss that the Stables had during that streak, winning 5 out of 6, was they lost the whole patrol a couple weeks ago, but that was without their quarterback. David Mather, the starting quarterback for the Stables, did not play in that game as they lost 51-19 to Whole Patrol. So you got to keep that and put that in its proper context. The Ballers won their last 4 regular season games to get to the playoffs. And like I said, they knocked off Vicious and Delicious to get to this point, whereas the Stables knocked off the Nard Dogs. So a big game between the 3 seed Stables and 5 seed Ballers coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, that should be a interesting game, especially when teams don't end up playing against each other in the season. You kind of you're not really expecting what to see. I'm not sure if these teams even saw each other even play once, right? So you're gonna probably maybe go up the stats to see who's who regarding both quarterbacks as well too. They're not really used to seeing the defenses that both these teams have. So it should be. I think this should be a really good matchup. Again, I'm biased, right? Because most of the kids that I coach play for the Ballers, so they're pretty excited for this game. and they're trying to win it all. So they at this point they don't think anyone could beat them. Usually during the season they weren't really a full team because of schedule issues stuff like that. But now they're pretty much a lock and load team, and they could taste the championship. So that's what they're going for.
I will say, sorry, I forgot to mention this earlier. Hope Patrol and Skrillas, again, the 11th seed against the 2 seed. They played each other in the regular season. It was 18-18 tie all the way back in week 1. So the first night of the season, basically on January 4th, 18-18 tie between the Hope Patrol and the Skrillas. One thing I noticed about that game, so Saj Singh, again, the quarterback who was throwing for the Skrillas in the victory, he had 3 touchdown passes, 1 INT. Aiden Latry, who we talked about, had 2 touchdown receptions in that game. Philip Shaw, who threw for Hope Patrol, went 13 of 15, only 94 yards, but he also threw 3 touchdown passes along with 1 INT. Charles Olivier Thiverch had 1 touchdown as a receiver and 1 INT as a defensive back. One thing, though, I noticed from that game, though, Quaysie, that at least week 1, again, week 1 doesn't mean too much. All these weeks later, months later, I should say, but no receiver had more than 38 yards receiving in that game. So that was something that kind of stood out to me. Again, 18-18 draw back in week 1. I'm expecting a little bit more fireworks this time around. What are we now, over May? So yeah, January, February, March. Yeah, so
Yeah,
go 4 to 5 months later. Expecting a bit more
exactly.
fireworks.
If you kind of think about it, kind of makes sense, especially some of these teams are kind of new. So when they're first kind
Yeah.
of going into their first FPF game, or it's been maybe they've been for a season, so you're coming in for your first FPF game. Maybe some of the quarterbacks haven't thrown the ball for a while. Maybe you have some of the guys that haven't caught the ball in a while, and they're just kind of coming off of a season that kind of ended how it ended, and it's your first time pitting on your cleats. Like I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys haven't touched the ball in years. Sometimes the situation. So for
Right.
them for kind of not having more than 38 yards, 40 yards, understandable. It happens, But this rematch it should be completely different
Yeah. All right.
though.
You want to pick a winner?
Yeah, so
You
I'm
want to wait
gonna
till next
have
week?
for semifinals again bias. So I'm gonna take the Ballers versus the Stables, and then for this Hope Patrol versus Skrillas, I'm gonna take Skrillas.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Skrillers. I got the Skrillers. Actually no. You know what? Paw Patrol. 3-6-1 was the regular season, and they've been knocking off teams. So why not? Why not keep the good times rolling? The Cinderella run. I got a Hope Patrol beating the Skrillers, and I got the state again. Like I said, I picked the Stables to win it all. I score kept one of their games. I think week 2 or 3, and I was like, yeah, this team should be winning it all. So I'm gonna stick with that. The Skrillers. So I got the Skrillers. Pardon me. The Stables. Sorry, I got the Stables taking on Hope Patrol for the finals.
Okay, let's go Division 6A.
So looking at 6A here, so a couple big games that took place. Obviously, we had the Booze Crews, the number 1 seed. They knocked off Sweet Bonanza 25-19. We had the 4 seed Tops and Tops. They knocked off the 6 seed Vice City 19-18. So a really tight game
Yeah.
there. We had Way Mal beating Vengeance. So Way Mal, the number 2 seed, knocking off number 8 seed Vengeance 25-18. And then we had the number 2 seed Only Flags beating the number 7 seed Hungover Heroes 33-25. So the top 4 teams are alive in this division, and they're going to be meeting for the semifinals. So we have the number 4 seed Tops and Tops taking on the number 1 seed Booze Crews. They didn't meet in the regular season, and then we have the number 2 seed Way Mal taking on the number 3 seed Only Flags. Those teams also did not meet in the regular season.
It's something also kind of interesting for the quarterfinals. Every game was a 1 point score game. There wasn't really any
Yeah,
blowouts.
yeah.
Maybe sometimes the scores don't really show kind of how the game was. Maybe team scored in the last like every minute didn't matter. But as what's shown, it's every game has been a 1 point. As it's shown for the quarterfinals for Division 6A, every score is a 1 point game. So one score game, which is kind of interesting to see because sometimes you see some disgusting blowouts, but it seems like every team was pretty close, and we had no upsets. You're kind of saying how the top teams are all still in there, so you don't really see that, especially this season. You're going to kind of see when we're kind of going down the divisions. There's been a lot of
Yeah.
upsets to cut, so
Oh,
to kind of
yeah.
see the 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, and 4 seed all still intact and they're still kind of in is kind of surprising, especially when if you're looking down, a lot of the teams that were again from Vice City, TGS, Top Tops, Only Flags, all these teams finished with the same record, 7-3. So it's not going to show there's a huge difference between these standings, but it was pretty close, and the top four teams still made it out there.
Well, one thing I'm looking forward to in this matchup, the 1 and the 4 seed, right? Blues Crews against Tops and Tops, is the Blues Crews defense. I had a chance to score keep their quarterfinal game, the aforementioned game against Sweet Bonanza, again, 25-19 win for Blues Crews in that one. Buddy of mine, Kyle Fulkerson's on that team. Fantastic receiver, underrated player, both sides of the ball, actually. I remember seeing him as a quarterback the last couple of years, and I've seen him kind of make a transition out into the lower divisions of playing receiver as well. Huge threat, almost 900 yards in a regular season, right? 15 touchdowns. They have like a dynamic duo. So it's him and Luke Guinness, who had 9 touchdowns. And then there's sorry, actually not even dynamic duo really. There's like 5 really good receivers on this team. So it's Fulkerson, Guinness. There's David Heresco, Alex Jeunesse. I guess he's probably related to Luke, I imagine, and then Justin Laplante. That last trio, those last 3 guys combined for 16 TDs, and that's great. What really impresses me though is this team's defense. They have 23 INTs, and Luke Guinness, I talked about him, his exploits as a receiver, right? 9 touchdown receptions. He also has 15 sacks. So that pass rush is serious with this team. And I look on the other side, right? Tops and Tops. They had 15 INTs as a defense, which is impressive. None of the players who are eligible for the playoffs, part of me, has picked up a sack. So they have 0 sacks, at least in the regular season. So I want to find out how uh this offense is going to be able to slow down the rush, right, by Luke Guinness. Again, 15 sacks is 15 sacks. Doesn't matter what division you play in. That's pretty impressive. So now the onus is gonna fall on the shoulders of the quarterback for Tops and Tops. And I talked about mentioned before, right? Xavier Chaluhi, is he going to be able to buy enough time to get out? I mean, he could run, right? He's averaging 11 yards a carry. He has 23 carries, 251 yards, also 3 rushing touchdowns. So he obviously has some wheels. But just because you have wheels doesn't mean you're gonna be able to buy time against a guy like Gannett. Right? So that matchup's going to be key. A quarterback who could scramble a bit against a really top-notch rusher. I'm interested to see how that battle is going to shake out.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. I'm also kind of on the same edge with Only Flags and Weepo Mal. Both of these guys are like I've score kept both these guys, and they're kind of the same, like not the same team, but they're size wise, they're kind of alike. You know, they both have pretty big defenders, also big offense receivers too. Like I feel like they're similar towards each other. So the fact that they're meeting each other in the semis, I think it's gonna be pretty interesting because I think they're kind of the same, like not the same team, but borderline around the same team. If that makes any sense.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
interesting how both these teams play. They're both physical. I feel like some of these guys, I feel like they have some background in football as well too. So that's where kind of you have the physical side towards it. But it's gonna be interesting how you have both teams as physical playing each other.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen Uwe Mal a couple of times. I mean, I like Emil Balula. I've talked about him a couple of times here on the pod. I mean, I believe he's their top player. 11 touchdowns in the regular season, 445 yards. A good two-way player. Guillaume Belanger, right? Big man over the middle. I know he plays quarterback, I think, on Caroline. Obviously, a snapper here, 7 TDs. Emile Comaye, 5 TDs. Charles Antoine Allaire as well, underrated player, 7 touchdowns for him. I think the Uwe Mal team is a little deeper, at least offensively. But then I look at their defense, right? 24 INTs. 4 of them, they ran back to the house, right? They have 7 sacks as a team. Looking at the other side, but only flags, right? Médéric Morin, 30 touchdown passes in a regular season. Elliot Fashon is one receiver. I've seen a little bit of him this year when I've seen only flags. He had almost 300 yards, about 10 touchdowns. He's on point. The defense, though, I'm wondering, like, they only have, so Mick Fashon Roy is their leading rusher. He only has 2 sacks, right?
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, that's something that's going to have to change because you got to get the quarterback, Alexis Leblanc, the quarterback for Wade Palmel. You got to try to throw him off his rhythm a little bit, right? get him to roll out a bit, get him to throw off his back foot. I'm not sure if the Only Flags defense can do that, which is why I'm honestly going to pick Maule in this game. I know they won 4 straight heading into the playoffs. Only Flags, they went 2-2 in their last 4 regular season games as well. Again, battle the 2 and 3 seed, right? I mean, it should be tight, but for me, I'm giving the edge to Maule in this game.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree. I'll be with you on. I'm on the same page. You. It's also interesting that none of these teams have played each other either.
Yeah,
So
it's rare. It's rare.
yeah,
I was doing my prep this morning, and I was like, okay, I mean that's less work for me as they didn't play each other. Okay, cool, all right.
yeah. So that's kind of interesting to see. There's only 15 teams in the division too, right? So like, what are the odds that
True.
you don't play versus each other? You know, like it's kind of it's interesting. I find it's also kind of cool that these teams are not like, oh, well, we know what to expect, right? You kind of maybe you saw this team, like, guys watch teams play, but like just to actually play them, it's completely different. And I think that's the best thing when it comes down to playoffs, when you play versus an opponent where you never played before. So
Yeah.
um, I'm sure they're both kind of excited, something new, something fresh, and sometimes you don't even know what you're kind of looking for, So it's gonna be again, playoffs is like probably the best thing that most people, especially for me, that I'm always looking forward for, especially when I get to talk about it and stuff. So the fact that we get 2 teams we get 4 teams that never played with each other in the semifinals is pretty interesting.
100%. Blues Crews again. They finished first in the regular season, 9-1 record. Waypoint Mount also finished 9-1. Boost Crews entered the playoffs winning 7 in a row. So obviously they're playing their best ball right now. Tops and Tops lost 2 out of their 4 regular season games, but again they finished 7-3. So the Only Flags, right? Top 4 teams made it. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens here tomorrow with the semifinals.
It'd be a good night in Brossard.
Sorry.
I said it's gonna be a good night in Brossard because all the
Oh yeah,
games
for
take
sure,
place
for
in
sure. I'll
Brossard.
be there. I'll be there. I hear you.
Um,
So
let's
5C.
go 5C. Yeah.
Cool. So 5C, yeah, looking at it, I mean, it's we almost had the top 4 teams. So we'll get to that in a second. We have the matchup is the number 1 seed, the Studs, 10-0 record, right? So they're looking to finish that perfect season, that path to perfection, taking on the number 5 seed, Pure de Bec. Those teams are not meeting the regular season. The other semifinal matchup we have is the number 2 seed, the Panthers, who finished 9-1, taking on the number 3 seed in Vice City. So again, 2 seed Panthers, 3 seed Vice City. Panthers finished 9-1. Vice City finished 8-2. Those two teams met a couple weeks ago, back in week 11. The Panthers beat Vice City 20-19. And that matchup, I believe, took place. I wanted to say Laval. I'm just gonna double check here. Yes, Steady Bear, my apologies. So that game took place at Steady Bear again, 20-19 win for the Panthers over Vice City in that contest. So obviously a tight one there for the Panthers getting the W. Again, one of the main reasons why they're separated only by a couple points in the standings. And basically what it was for Vice City actually came close to getting the W. They scored a touchdown. They were down by 1. They went for 2 on the last play of the game to get the W. They couldn't get it, hence why they lost. So let's just stay with this matchup then, I guess. Looking at the Panthers, they finished 9-1. Their only loss this season came all the way back in week 1. January 4th, they lost to Royal Flush. So I mean, again, that's early in the season, trying to get your bearings, but they lost that game by a score of 27-20, right? And if you look at that, right, you look at the final standings for Royal Flush. Royal Flush finished. Actually, they finished 6th, so not so bad. Yeah, they finished 6th. Anyways, when I said before, right, almost a battle again, like what we had in the last division, almost a battle of the top 4 seeds. Takeoff Squad and number 4 seed, they got bounced by Pudebec. So a bit of an upset. Pudebec beating Takeoff Squad 30-26. Studs beating LVL Jack Boys in a shootout 51-49. Vice City, the number 3 seed, like we said, knocking off number 7 seed, Les Touchables, Les Touchabs, 26-20. And we saw a blowout with the Panthers knocking off the number 9 seed, TDs and Big D's 34-12. So takeoff squad is out. Pudebek is in a number 5 seed. So I mean, again, some top teams still alive here in the semifinals. Who are you calling for this Vice City Panthers game?
I'm gonna give it to the Panthers. To be honest with you, I like Vice City. I saw both these teams played, but I
Yep.
like Panthers from day one. They've been proving why they've been proving why they're one of the best teams in this division, and I just like the way they play. Vice City as again Vice City as well too. Vice City tech. If you're looking kind of at the points for and points against Vice City, it looks like the more impressive team. But for some reason, again, since the beginning, I was high on two teams. One was Royal Flush. Unfortunately for them, they got knocked out, and then another team was Panthers. So I'm gonna keep with the Panthers, how hot they are right now, and that's the team I'm going with.
Okay. Okay. I want to go with Vice City
Okay.
in this game. I've played against some of these guys. Like Max Burrup, he's been in lower divisions for a long time. He's a stud player. I mean, if they get 19 TDs right in the regular season, he's the guy. Okay, I think you played with Max, didn't you?
Yeah, played with Mark. So when we won our championship with Sharks in Division
Yeah.
C.
Okay, exactly. Yeah. I remember playing against you guys. Yeah, Matt and Jordan the Book as well, who's also on this team. Yeah, these guys should be playing higher divisions, but it is what it is. They're allowed to play wherever they want to play. Yeah, so that dynamic duo again, Max Burra, 19 touchdowns, Jordan the Book, 9 touchdowns, Alex Russo, Justin Frankel, obviously former teammate of yours as well, 11 sacks. Nick Richard, I'm not sure if he pronounces it Richard or Richard. Uh 38 touchdowns in the regular season, completed about 60% of his passes. He's a third on the ground as well, right? He averaged almost 10 yards a carry. So I think with the experience of a team like Vice City, I'm going to give them the edge over the Panthers. I do like the Panthers though. Like Luca Berube, their quarterback, 36 touchdown passes, completed 61% of his passes. Nick DePoint LaBelle, one of their top receivers, nearly 500 yards receiving. Charles Jolie, their defense is nice. 26 INTs, 25 pass deflection. That's important. I mean, you want to get picks, but if you can't get picks, if you can get pass deflections and breaking up passes, that's almost just as good. That's impressive. But I'm going again back to Vice City. Vice City's defense, 23 INTs. Four of them they ran back to the house. They have 21 pass deflections. And again, their defense as a whole has 13 sacks. Justin Franco getting 11 of them. I'm pretty impressed with this Vice City defense. And again, the experience that they have, I'm giving them the slight edge over the
Yeah.
Panthers.
Well, I understand. It kind of makes sense. Experience does make a big difference when it comes to playoffs. One thing I do say, Panthers are going to have to slow down Max Burrow because if you don't, he could take over a game, and
Yeah, for
that
sure, for
offense
sure.
it's not going to be Brady. One thing I do want to give the Panthers, I feel like they're a younger roster as well too, and sometimes that does make a difference. Where not saying that the guys from Vice City can't take hooks and score touchdowns. I mean, it's sometimes not as realistic. Where you look at the Panthers, where I feel like some of these guys, if you give them enough space, they will break. They will break a few out. And if Vice City's defense is not on point coming into this game, Panthers could score a lot of points.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the Panthers defense has to be on point. I mean, I'm expecting this to be kind of a shootout. I mean, again, in week 11, it was a 1 point game, 20-19. I'm expecting a bit more points this time around. Again, for me, I'm just gonna give the slight edge to Vice City in that one. But if the Panthers pull off the upset, I won't be surprised. The other matchup we said, right? Number one, the Studs, 10-0, right? Trying to finish that path to perfection, taking on the 5 seed, Pur de Bec. Again, those teams did not meet in the regular season. Just looking at some of the names, though, like for the Studs, right? I score kept this team a lot. Antoine Clement, one of the top receivers in the division, 331 yards, 16 touchdowns. He's joined by Alex Blanchette, right? Nearly 600 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. Zach Blackburn, 7 touchdowns. Sean Ross, 8 touchdowns. And they have a lot of depth at the receiver position. Put it back, though, and they have a nice quarterback. Jeremy Zadra, I've seen him play a lot. 46 touchdown passes. Like he's top notch. He's top notch for this division. The other side, put it back, right? Thomas Gauthier, 29 touchdown passes, but 14 INTs. That's a lot of turnovers, but it is what it is. He still helped his team get this far. Theo Cliche. So Theo Cliche, buddy of mine, one of the top players in this entire division, 13 touchdown receptions. He's dominant on both sides of the ball, right? I think he has about 9 INTs as well. So he's a
At
guy
12,
when the ball is in his
12
direction. Sorry, 12
I'm
actually.
pretty sure. I think he went two-way. The other one, defensive player of the year, two-way because 12 INTs,
Yeah,
4
yeah,
touchdowns.
exactly.
This game is going to be, to be honest with you, the only issue I have with Pittsburgh, sorry for cutting off, is that I feel like he's a really big player for this team. So if he has a bad game, it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna. If he has a bad, he
Exactly.
needs to have really have a good game. He's gonna have to really carry his team, and also the rusher Samuel DeGull. He
Yeah,
had 19 sacks.
exactly.
So
So
we're gonna need
sorry to cut you off. They're top heavy. That's the thing with this team. A lot, not to throw any shade on the other guys, but a lot of the production is coming off of two guys.
Yeah, no, that's Simon. That's exactly it, right? You have Theo, he has 13 touchdowns. Everyone else has 2, 4, 5, 3, 2. So it's a big percentage of touchdowns that he has. He has 57 targets. The other next receiver, you have Jamal Forte. He
Yeah,
has
Forte, yeah, 31.
41 targets after that. And then
Yeah,
you have you have 27 and 17 when you go to Julian Valley and Samuel DeGull. So like
yeah.
it's a big drop off from number one to number three. Like number one, number two is fine, whatever, 57, 41. Regarding the catches, 552. Next guy, 296. Regarding touchdowns, 13. And then you have two regarding for targets. So I feel like if Theo doesn't have one of those games where he's able to pull it off for his guys, they're going to be in trouble. And also, they're going to need a couple sacks from, I'm pretty sure, I want to say Samuel DeGo won Rusher of the Year as well too. So they're going to need a pretty good game for him to get some sacks in this game to keep them in it. I feel like it comes to a point if Studs kind of start off strong where they usually do for most of the cases, this game could get ugly pretty fast.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I honestly, I think you're right. They're gonna need both those guys to really come out and ball. Because again, I was writing down some notes to myself, right? And pretty much what you said was spot on with what I was writing in my notes this morning. And I was like, okay, well, like I talked about earlier, right? Can Gauthier, get Thomas Gauthier, the quarterback for Peterback, can he cut down on the turnovers, right? 14 INTs in the regular season. Uh, can they stop Theo? Can Theo Cleach be stopped? Probably no, but if you can at least limit what he does, if you try to throw the ball away from him on defense, that's definitely a good thing. And then yeah, the Peterback pass rush, right? Like you talked about, Samuel Dugal again, dominant rusher. The quarterback, Jeremy Zadra, who has some legs. He's gonna have to get rid of the ball quickly. And again, Zadra, again, one of the top quarterbacks in his division, right? Nearly 50 touchdown passes in the regular season. So I don't think he's gonna be uh too worried about the rush, so to speak. Because again, he's a guy that has some legs, right? He averages 11 yards a carry, so he could at least buy some time for his receivers. And the last point I had was, can Pudebeck slow down the receivers that I talked about, right? For the studs, right? Clement, Blanchette, Blackburn, and Ross. These guys are dominant, right? They've combined for do the quick math right here. This trio right here is combined
About
for
touchdowns?
nearly 40 touchdowns. Of
Yeah.
sorry, not trio, Forson. These four receivers and Clement, Blanchette,
Oh, for
Blackburn, and Ross have combined for nearly 40 touchdowns, right? That's a
yeah.
lot of catches and a lot of big plays. I'm not sure, even if with Theo on their best receiver, who appears to be Clement, right? Okay, so let's say Clement matches up man for man, which is not going to happen the whole game, but let's say at least for a portion of it, they cancel each other out. They still have to worry about Blackburn, Ross Blanchette, and some of the other receivers. I just don't know if the Peterbeck defense could contain this offense for the entire game, which is why I'm picking the studs.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. Also, Zandra hasn't thrown a lot of INTs either, right? He's gotten sacked 13 times, so he's getting sacked maybe once a game. His completion rate is insane, 75%. QBR rating is 126.3, and to throw only 4 INTs in a whole season when you throw 46 touchdowns and 1,740 yards, it means you're elite, and it seems like
Yeah.
he's been playing great. So it's kind of it's a scary thing to kind of look at if you're Pittsburgh. and you kind of have to make sure you're kind of getting into the game and be like, hey guys, if we get 2 sacks, it's better than one, right? He's averaging 1 sack a game. Rusher's job, let's get 2 sacks here and let's get an INT. If you could get one INT and you could sneak away with 2 sacks, you could actually get yourself in the game because you're beating his average what he's giving, you know? So that's kind of the starting point where you kind of have to. I feel like if you're pitch to back, that's where you kind of have to look at if you want to get this W.
I'm pretty sure they do. I mean, I hope they do. Welcome to the game. Nah, I don't really care if you win or not. Whatever. Wait for the summer. Okay.
Yeah.
We look at the other matchups. So again, okay, so you're picking. We're both picking the studs, and so you said you're picking the Panthers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you're picking Panthers. They got Play City. All right. So we're gonna have to. I mean, all 4 teams. Good luck. Again, everyone. These games are all taking place tomorrow down in Broussard. So good luck to everybody, and hopefully everyone stays healthy. And we'll see what happens in the finals. Again, we'll have our show next week, previewing all the final games for every single division: 6v6, 5v5, women's co-ed, all the good stuff. So make sure to tune in next week as well. Okay, so let's jump to Division 5B. So 5B, we have so the only top team left, well, let's say top team, but top 5 team, I guess you could say, left is we ain't done with the 90s. The number 2 seed here. They're taking on the number 12 seed and deep zone penetrators. So obviously we ain't done with the 90s, finished 8-1-1 in the regular season. We have an upset, and to get to that in a second. The other matchup we have is the number 7 seed. So the McGill swim team taking on the number 8 seed, and that's going to be Catch and Flex. So looking at the previous round of the playoff race, so we had an upset. The number 1 seed, Ben Don't Break, they were knocked off by the number 12 seed Deep Zone Penetrators. So it's forfeit, 30-0. So I mean, hey, that happens. As long as you win, you win. If you win, you win. That's all that matters. We had Catch and Flex, the number 8 seed, like I said, knocking off the number 13 seed Chattagee Community College by a score of
I got the
36
scorekeep
to
actually.
32.
I
McGill
got the
swim team that we
scorekeep.
just talked. Sorry.
No, I said I got the scorekeep catch a flex
Okay.
last week and also Miguel swim team too. I got the scorekeep both of those games.
Okay. 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 So McGill swim team knocking off the number 4 seed, the Demons, 26-25. And we ain't done with the 90s. Again, like I said, they are the number 2 seed. They knocked off the 11 seed, Les Mangeaux de Bange, 15-13. One thing I noticed, obviously, besides the forfeit, all these other games came down to about 3-4 points. Like, so I mean, one game came down to 2, one game came down to 1, the other game came down to 4, right? So obviously, all tight one-score games going down to the wire. Okay, so you said you score kept Catch and Flex against Chattagee
Yeah,
Community College, and you score kept the McGill swim team against the Demons. Well,
yeah, and I
tell
got to see
us
the
what you
end of,
saw.
and I also got to see the end of We Ain't Done with the '90s versus the Mountain
Okay, nice. Okay,
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, my game was I had a game at 6, so I had that's the reason why I wasn't scorekeeping the 6 o'clock
okay,
game.
okay.
But I'll just start with We Ain't Done with the '90s versus the Mountain. I saw the ending of the game. It went to overtime where basically both teams were kind of going back at it, back at it, back at it, back at it. We ain't done '90s ended up scoring. I think it was the 4th overtime. They end up getting a convert, making a stop, and punching their ticket to the semifinals. Regarding McGill's swim team versus Demons banged up team right now. They're literally
Yeah,
banged up. They're missing a good amount of players. But one thing I do have to say, they played really well. Neil Wright played a pretty good damn game. Ryan Quaysie did a great job, 6 for 6, 116 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was kind of the go-to guy. Whenever Neil needed something, he made it work. McGill's swim team did not look as good as they should. They should have won this game, and Keon would agree with me. They should have won this game by at least 2 or 3 scores. It's to a point where you kind of play down to your opponent. I feel like that's what kind
yeah,
of McGill's swim team was kind of doing here. They were the deeper roster, but it didn't really show. And it's to a point where if they want to get to the next, if they want to win their semi matchup, they're gonna have to play way better. But again, Keon was kind of frustrated after the game because he felt like they were. To be honest, they should have lost this game as well too. They also won. McGill swim team won overtime. Neil Wright had the ball at the 1 yard line, and I think he had 4 plays to punch it in, and the time is ticking. I think he had maybe 30 seconds, or yeah, around 30 seconds. First play incomplete. Second play, incomplete. Third play, incomplete. He just incompleted 3 balls in a row and didn't score on the
Really?
1 yard line. Yeah, and there was a penalty too. So like, it wasn't a point where like, it's first and like 6. No, it was first and goal on the 1 yard line, first down, 30 seconds left in the game. So like, you have literally 4 plays where you could do whatever you want, where you have the ball on the 1 yard, and he could not punch it in. And that's the difference. I feel like if they had their starting quarterback,
Yeah, Ben Iglesias.
yeah, I feel like he could have used his legs. He could have bought himself the time, and he probably would have been able to do a pitch off. This game would have been completely different. But in general, I mean, that was the biggest issue on that drive. McGill's swim team got out of there by the skin of their teeth, got the stop, went to overtime. I think they got the first convert, and then it was just stop after stop after stop, and they pulled it off. But in that situation, Demons had the ball on the 1 yard line. I want to say 3 or 4 plays, incomplete. Don't get me wrong. Miguel's swim team did a great job regarding
Yeah.
defense. Neil Wright was trying to, they didn't let anything in front of the end zone. Everything was behind, and he just couldn't get the ball back in the end zone. Got to stop, overtime, end up winning. But they know, like, it was a game for McGill's swim team to lose, and they didn't. So hopefully, when it comes to semis, they're gonna have to try to lock in and realize, okay, we got lucky this game. If we play the same way if they play the same way they played against Demons, they're gonna get blown out.
We get beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was interesting to see. Again, as there is overtime, both overtimes, happening in both these divisions. And then catch a flex versus Chattagee Community College. This game was like, at first it was kind of dull, and then points started flying, whatever. And the stupidest thing someone could do, where pretty much what happened is, what's the guy's number? I don't think I even did a good job, because everything was hectic, everything was kind of going on. So one of the players from Chattagee College got an INT, Mattis Thieberg Valdel. So he gets a big INT on, I want to say it was Stanley Williams. Yeah. So he gets a big INT on him, where the ball's thrown to Stanley. Mattis kind of jumps up, kind of mosses him to a point, picks him off, and then he kind of looks at him, like stares him down, like for no reason. Like, you got the pick, you guys are still down, like whatever, like just drive, like get your pick, get back the ball, and like get your thing, like get your drive going, right? So he does that. 10 plays for sure. Bang, gets thrown out for 10 plays.
So you got to know, see, good job. Congratulations.
Yeah, to be honest, it's horrible. It's kind of it's lack of experience,
It's stupid. It's stupid is what it is. You could say it.
So and he was doing a good job on offense too, right? He was one of the targets. So they lose him. Charles Alexi Sevin was also having a really good game, but so he's out for 10 plays. They drive down the field, they score, right? Okay, cool. Catch a flex, drives on the field. Alex O'Neill does a great job, holds the ball, wastes a lot of times. And you know who scores the game-winning touchdown?
Richie?
Stanley Williams.
Okay, nice. All right.
Stanley Williams gets the game-winning touchdown. So he gets a whatever. He gets mossed. It is what it is. Compose himself. He does. Some guys, after someone's kind of staring in your face, maybe you try to shove him a bit, and there's 2 penalties going one way. He just smiles, walks up the field. His defense does what they do. They don't make a stop. He comes down, gets the winning touchdown, and they win the game. And it's like all last in there. But I was like kind of saying, that's like karma. Like
100%. That's karma.
Where you're flexing someone's face, where, like, to be honest with you, yeah, the INT was good. It was a good pick, but there's no need to, like, the game. You're not up by 20. It was a 1-point score game. You're not up. Why are you flexing on someone? Presley, like, there's no reason for it. It's like the game wasn't done. Like, I was like, maybe game-winning INT, you could flex on the guy. The game's not over. So big win. I was actually I'm never biased sometimes. Like, sometimes I am, but at that point I was just like, okay, I kind of wish Catch a Flex get this W, just because how everything was happening.
Right. So, right. I mean, listen, I like Stanley. I got to know him a little bit going into this season. He's a good kid. He's a good dude. Hey, listen, and like you said, that's karma right there. That's 100% karma. There's no ifs, ands, there's no two ways about it, right? I mean, I always say, like, listen, I'm not trying to badmouth flags. I love flag, and obviously I play and I work for this league, but like the big time people and start flexing on people. I mean, okay, if you rip the ball out of someone's hands, which technically isn't allowed, if you do that, fine. That's fine. That's fine. If you're jumping up, you're making an athletic play, and you start flexing on people, like, come on, come
It
on,
was a
like,
it was a straight flex, stare down, like
yeah, there's no need for
like
that. It's a friendly
even
league,
even
like,
yeah, exactly. Even me, I'm like, okay, celebration. I was like, flag him. I was like, literally, like, flag him. 10 plays right now. I was like 10 plays, 10 plays, and then they're like, the refs, whatever, got together, did 10 plays, but it was stupid. It didn't make any sense. I know there was kind of some chirping going back and forth and stuff, but
as there always is,
hor-
yeah.
yeah, horrible. Also, I want to give a shout out to the rusher Elijah.
At the Quee, yeah.
Yeah, great job. And one thing I love to see is when I see players that come into the league as like new players as well. I remember I watched him come in. He was on. I'm gonna get the team because I remember I score kept his first game in Shadigi. When I think when he was playing for TD Blitz, I think that's a team. Whatever their roster was insane. They came in with I think 15 guys, 16 guys
Nice.
roster. They're kind of all over the place. Not really knowing what to do. It's kind of nice to see players that played on it. Like I'm pretty sure it was Division 6 at the time. So now he made the step up to Division 5, and he did a great job. He had some key sacks too during the game. Hyped up his team. He did a great job on closing out the game when it kind of mattered. So a
Yeah,
little
good.
shout out to
Good.
him as
Yeah,
well.
good job. Good job. All right, so like anyways, like, karma came back to bite Chattaquay Community College. And again, this is the team we talked about last year, right? I think they were 0-10 or 0-9-1, something like that. It wasn't good. So I mean, congrats to them on turning it
Yeah,
around.
really not it.
But you have a chance to kind of punch your ticket, and then you get an OC, and it's a learning lesson, right? So it's a lesson. It's a lesson for Theber uh Valad, I think is how you pronounce his last name. So it's a learning lesson for him. Hopefully he'll learn from it and be a smarter player going forward. And again, good job by Stanley Williams on getting the last laugh, right? I mean, because like you said, you got that winning touchdown, and you can't ask for a better end. You can't write a better ending than that. Um, okay, and you said you got the tail end of what was the other game you said you saw?
Those are 3 games.
Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, so looking at it, man. So the matchups we have, again, so catch a flex, number 8 seed against McGill swim team. These two teams met week 14, so not that long ago. McGill swim team with a blowout 37-12 victory over Catch and Flex. So obviously Catch and Flex is going to look to get a little bit of revenge and get the last laugh tomorrow. Uh, we also, I don't know if you want to bring that up on your screen.
Yeah. You said the game that they just played.
Yeah, week 14.
Yeah, I had it before. Sorry,
Yeah,
right
so like I
here.
said, big victory there for Catch and pardon me, for McGill swim team. So Vaughn Vance Lee, you can see it right there. Only 91 yards, but he had 3 touchdown passes. So good for him. Kyle Shibata caught 2 of those TDs on a defense, right? They got 2 INTs. So our main man, Keon Cyrus, got an INT. Kyle Shibata had an INT that he ran back to the house for 6 points, right? So and Jackson Van got a sack in that game. Alex O'Neal. So again, I like Alex O'Neal. I've seen him play a lot over the last couple of seasons. I'm a fan. Struggled in that game, 148 yards, but as you see, 2 TDs, 2 INTs that we talked about. And that defense is just pretty aggressive, led by a guy like Richie Mondesir. Shout out to Richie, Elijah Dupuis and those cats. Not able to get an INT in that game, right? So Dupuis did get a sack, but not able to produce any turnovers himself, right? So that's a big reason why they lost. Again, that's week 14, so not that long ago. I'm expecting a bit closer of a rematch this coming time. And you know what? I'm gonna say I think I'm gonna pick the upside here. I'm gonna go with Catch and Flex to get the
Okay.
dub here in the rematch.
After getting smoked by 25. Oof,
Yep.
interesting. I do have to say, if McGill swim team plays the same way they played versus Demons, I would go catch a flex too. But I think I think it was a reality check. I think it was kind of pointing like, okay, we're playing the Demons. We should get the win. Should be easier
Right.
game. Instead, it was kind of closer. We won. They shouldn't. To be honest, again, I'm gonna say McGill Swimpy shouldn't be in the semifinals right now, but they are in. And I think it's kind of like okay, guys, we're here. Let's make the best of it, and let's go. Let's go win the championship. So if it wasn't in that situation, I'd be like, okay, fine. But I'm gonna give it to McGill Swimpy to kind of bounce back from their game versus Demons and kind of take care of business with catch a flex. So I'm gonna go with McGill Swim Team.
No, that's definitely fair. That's definitely fair. I'll have to see what happens. I mean, I don't know. I think you're right. They should have beat the Demons by a lot more. And so shout out to the Demons on making that game close. Although I will say Neil, so I know Neil, he's been a guest on the show before and he watches this podcast. Neil, I know Sam Darnold's your main man, but where's the Sam Darnold in you? What's going on here? I mean, you stalled out at the 1 yard line, first and goal from the one. Come on, bro, you're better than that, Neil. At least I thought you were better than that. Yeah. So to get some context, I work with Neil somewhere else, and he was talking trash to me all season long about how great Sam Darnold is and yada yada yada. And you know what? He was right. Sam Darnold did what he needed to do in the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, if you're Sam Darnold's number one fan, if you're president of that fan club, brother, you got to post some Sam Darnold, man. When you get down to the 1 yard line, punch your ticket to the semifinals, couldn't get it done. I don't know. It's not a good look. It's not a good look.
Yeah, especially overtime too. Overtime they didn't do anything either, right? So like you don't punch it in, and then you get to overtime. You also don't even score any points overtime. So
Mhm.
it's like kind of like you had like 7 tries in the red zone. You couldn't get incomplete. You couldn't complete one pass, which is kind of insane.
And
But
and and, and and cue to Neil watching this, bro. Our quarterback was gone, bro. We had no rusher, bro. These guys are there, bro. We would have won that game for sure. Nah. I'm just busting
no,
your
he did.
balls,
He
dude.
did
But I
it.
mean,
He did a great job until then. Like
yeah.
he got
Until
he
then,
got himself where he had to get himself. He just couldn't finish, and it happens sometimes. But
100%,
going
100%.
to we ain't done with the '90s versus I just
Yeah,
had them.
deep
I
zone
think it's
penetrators.
yeah. Who do you have for this game here?
I got so they didn't meet in the regular season, man. But I got deep zone penetration. Pardon me, sorry. I got we ain't done with the '90s, man. Like JMO Jaya. Yeah, he's a veteran guy. He's been in the league for a long time. I like this team. Obviously Jamie with 31 touchdown passes in the regular season. Like Seth Galina, well, Seth Galina, she's not also going to play for the playoffs. My bad, but like Justin White, right? Justin White's a top receiver
Great
in the
contender too.
Division Two, and the fact that he's playing here, right? He's a playmaker. They have playmakers up and down their lineup. And
Yeah,
experience. Troy Lenve is another guy that hopefully should be. He's eligible to play in the playoffs, so he should be good to go. They have a lot of veteran experience and some big time playmakers. I like deep zone penetrators. Like I said, hey, listen, they knocked off the number one seed, Bambi Don't Break, but that was by forfeit, right? So I mean, really, assuming that Ben Don't Break shows up for the game and they don't forfeit, this wouldn't even be the matchup, right? It would be Ben Don't Break taking on Catch and Flex, and then it'd be we ain't done with the '90s taking on McGill Swim Team. So no shit on deep zone penetrators. The fact that their opponents forfeited, that's not their fault. I just don't think that they have what it takes to knock off. We ain't done with the '90s.
Yeah, exactly.
What
Plus
about you?
plus they haven't played in a while as well too because of that forfeit. So that's unfortunate. And I
Exactly.
also think we ain't done in the '90s. It's a big team. It's a big defense, big bodies. You have two great players. Again, as you're saying, Justin White, huge body over there. Division, I believe he played. I don't think he ever played Division One, but he's definitely a Division Two player. I've seen him play. He led his team with 9 INTs as well too. Again, we talked about Jamie Ojea, veteran that's been in this league for a while, kind of understands how to understand clock. He understands clock, especially kind of familiar, getting kind of used to the quarterback role as well too. But again, he led his team 8-1-1 this year, so he's doing a great job. And then also you have guys like Paul Junior. Barrow as well too. I want to say he's a former
Yeah, Paul
basketball
Burrow.
player.
Yeah, Paul Burrow Jr. Yeah,
Yeah, I want to say he's a former basketball player with his size and body, but he's a great guy when you kind of just need a bailout where Jamie just kind of puts it up there and he's able to make a play. So those are kind of like the three guys I think are kind of what that kind of leads them to where they are right now, and it's definitely something it's hard to even stop. And regarding for sorry, trying to look at something here. Yeah. So regarding when they're playing deep zone penetrators, I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if they have enough firepower to be able to stop a team like we ain't done with the '90s. So I agree with you too. I'm also gonna go. We ain't done with the '90s to get that win. You know, it's also something that's pretty interesting, and I also kind of miss where teams kind of like. So we ain't done with the '90s played they played at 6 o'clock, right? The next matchup was McGill's swim team versus Demons, where they played at 9 o'clock, I want to say. And like they kind of just waited to see who they were going to play against, you know? So they're kind of just, the team was kind of just chilling on the bench. They're kind of just looking at the games that are happening. And then they're
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
looking to see who they're going to end up playing against going into the semifinals. So I think playoffs like that's like the best thing to kind of look at. Where I remember unfortunately there's so many teams now these days, so you sometimes you don't even play on the same day where other teams play. But in this situation, everyone kind of played on the same day, which is kind of cool. But like you wait and see, you kind of scout out, get this check to see the other team. So I found that's pretty cool how like we in the '90s were kind of just waiting around to kind of see who they're playing against. But I'm sure they're checking some notes, even though deep zone penetration's the team they played. But I feel like if McGill's swim team ended up losing, I think it was maybe Demons. They would have played Demons or a situation like that where for some it ended up being deep zone penetrating the team that wasn't there. But it's still kind of cool to see how teams are kind of just waiting around and trying to checking out their next opponent and scouting and stuff like
Yeah, it feels like again with all the amount of teams like you're talking about, right? I know back in the day when I first started playing, my first couple years in FPF, that was always the case, right? Like you have one game, and then after you put a game, and then like in the same division, you put a game, you put a game. Now I know Rob had tried to get rid of that a couple years ago by having teams play at the same time, but again, there's so many
that.
teams and limited field availability, right? Especially now with the weather being what it is.
Yeah,
So
and
now you
also
have to sometimes put those games after
yeah,
each other.
also conflict, schedule conflicts, right? So many teams play, so many
Yeah, yeah,
guys
yeah, yeah,
play
exactly.
on so many teams,
Exactly.
and you can't have games at the same location. Sometimes they have to be different locations as well too. But it's always nice to see when for some reason the schedule does let that happen. You kind of get to see your opponents, even though they have to wait 3 hours. But it is what it is sometimes. But it's kind of cool to see that you kind of teams kind of scout each other out.
Do you ever
So
do that, like where you kind of run fake plays, but to kind of give the other teams
no,
some false
I,
information? Because you're right, like
the,
a lot of teams
the,
stick around to watch other teams.
the most we ever did was we didn't run our full offense. So I think we were playing. I think this was the Brotherhood, and I think we were playing Grip and Rip in the semis. I think we're up by a couple touchdowns, and we kind of just said, okay, we're not going to show them everything, you know. But everyone kind of knew
Yeah.
we had Jamal Ginnings, you had Khalil Curry, you had me, so you kind of Grip and Whip, you know, veteran guy Vinny, so they kind of knew what they were expecting. But I remember we had a formation where we had me as a running back, where it's kind of handoff and I got to throw it like that. But we didn't really try. We didn't really try to show as much when we were up. I think I forgot what team we played, but we were up like by 3 scores, and they just finished playing their game, so they were kind of watching us, and we were kind of just like leaning back. And then when we played them in the playoffs, we played them in the semis. I remember we ended up doing one of those plays when they weren't. I think I threw a touchdown pass, but and they weren't kind of ready for it. So around those lines, yeah, but mostly sometimes no. So depends on the situation.
Okay,
You
okay, makes sense. Yeah, yeah,
have you
I've done the same thing, right? I've run like a play or two that I knew we weren't gonna ever run in the championship game. But predominantly, yeah, you just try not to show. You either don't show your plays or you run a different variation of the play. I
yeah,
used to have a
yeah.
screenplay. Sorry.
You know, I know I said exactly that. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
that.
They remember,
I do that for coaching when I'm coaching 7-on-7
yeah, for
outdoors.
sure, of course,
I do
yeah,
that for
yeah.
coaching. Coaching for me, like let's just say we're up by a lot, or we're usually you play back to back. So a lot of the times you'll play a team, and then the next team, like so you'll play a game. Let's say you play at 10, you'll play back to back. So you play at 10, 11. So the team you're playing at 11 is watching you play. So
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
sometimes we don't show certain formations, or we try to not show as much. If we're winning by a lot, there's no reason to show them certain plays, right? And 7-on-7, the field's so much wider. There's a lot of double quarterback options, a lot of hook and lateral. So that's where it's like I don't call as much. Same thing also for defense. Like I won't show a double rush or regarding our two deep safeties over top, like where some teams don't really play that, you know. So I try to be kind of more secretive when it comes to that. But also again, also it always depends on the situation.
Yeah, sure.
Let's go
Okay.
five
Yeah.
B, 5A.
5A. 5A. So 5A, we have all top four teams are alive. We have the number one seed Speed Academy taking on, pardon me, the number four seed Thunder Buddies. And we have the number two seed Veerlinks taking on the number three seed Saint Jean Vianney Academy alumni. Pardon me. So call that Saint Jean Vianney alumni. My apologies. Looking at how both teams got here, probably all four teams how they got here. Speed Academy knocked off the number eight seed Ice Up 42-39. Veerlinks knocked off the number seven seed Perfect Timing 33-26. College St. Jean Vianney alumni, they beat the number six seed Richter 32-24. And Thunder Buddies had a 24-18 victory over the number five seed Texas Wales. So again, top four teams are left here in the playoffs. Looking at that first matchup, Veerlinks against CSJV alumni. They did not meet in the regular season. Veerlinks, obviously a team, a lot of FPF veterans now, guys like Anthony Robichaud, Victor Lasnier Davies. Shout out to him. I know he watches the podcast. So a lot of big time veterans on their squad. Again, taking on taking on part of me, the Saint Jean Vanny alumni, right? Again, these are two teams. When we look at the regular season standings, these are two teams both finished with a 9-1 record, right? Actually, all four teams finished with a
Yeah.
9-1 record, right? So that's obviously unique. Um, so again, looking at this alumni team, right? You look at some of the names. So Alex Benoit, starting quarterback. I've seen him play a couple of games over the last couple of seasons. I've seen him play. Looking at the receivers, right? They have some big play receivers. And I'm talking about guys. So Antoine Gadet, again, 12 TDs, 400, almost 450 yards receiving. Michael Frenier, almost 450 yards receiving as well, 11 touchdowns. But again, this is a top heavy team. So both those receivers combining for 23 touchdowns. After that, no one else has more than 185 yards. William Hamel Renault, 4 touchdowns, 184. Simon Benoit, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. Thomas Bombardier, 4 touchdowns, 140 yards. William Gagnon, 3 touchdowns, 162 yards. All that to say, the College St. Vanny alumni team, two dominant receivers in Gaudin and Frenier, but after that, it's a bit of a fall off. And maybe not even the other receiver's fault. Maybe just not getting enough passes. But either way, right? There's definitely an upper echelon and I guess a lower echelon part of this offense, which is led by Alex Benoit, 34 touchdowns in a regular season.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
so I got to play Saint Jean this year. Their
Mhm.
defense is also something that kind of keeps it in the game as well too. So that's also one thing they kind of rely on. If their offense is not moving the ball, if you don't have those two players, Antoine and Michael, they're kind of carrying the load for them. Is their defense that kind of bails them out and they make plays for them. That's one thing when we played them. I think the first drive I was it was going good, and then we had a ball was snapped to a pick, and after that, they just kind of took complete advantage of. They basically took over the game on offense and defense, but it's to a point where their defense is what sometimes bails them out, and it kind of helps them get to where gets them kind of helps them get to where they are right now. So even as you're kind of saying, like, yeah, they have two main receivers that are extremely good, but if things are not going well with those two guys and the other guys kind of can't really carry the load, their defense comes out most of the time, and I think that's the reason why their stats are not amazing for both these guys. I mean, these two guys, yeah, I mean their stats are pretty good regarding both their quarterbacks, Alex Benoit and William. They kind of had a double quarterback thing kind of going, um, but there when things are not going well for them on that side as well too, their defense is what kind of helps them out. I believe their defense had about 20 picks this season, with a few pick sixes. So it kind of just goes to show where if offense is not rolling, defense comes to play.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that defense, like you said, they're gonna have to rely on that to knock off Violings. Violings again, a veteran squad. They have some playmakers. I mean, their defense isn't as impactful. I mean, looking at their INTs, right? They have about 13, 14 INTs. Victor Lasnier and Davies leading the way with 6, right? But I mean, after that, it's a bit of a drop off. Antoine Cote 3, Anthony Robichaud with 3 as well, but not too many turnovers produced. But again, this offense, like I like what I've seen. I've score kept a couple of their games. Anton Cote, 11 touchdown passes. Lasnier Davies, 8 TDs, 8 TD catches. Jean Sebastien St. Arnaud, a good two-way player, 6 TDs for him, 300 yards receiving. Johannes Grandin, 9 touchdown receptions. Dylan Boudreau as well, 6 touchdown receptions. Philippe St. Pierre, 5, right? So this team is deep at receiver. They have a lot of playmakers, and I've seen Anthony Robichaud play a lot. He doesn't always key in on one guy. He kind of likes to mix it up. He has a gun. This guy has a cannon for an arm, and he likes to kind of throw some to the center, throw some to the flat, throw some down the intermediate. Then he likes to take some deep shots as well, right? He kind of takes what the defense gives him, and then it really he I think he uses a bit of the short passing game to open up the deep bombs, and then when they start opening up, he's really good at hitting those. I mean, again, these two teams are separated by very little in the standings. Again, both finishing 9-1. I only the big view links. I just think the Violings offense is just a little bit deeper than Saint Jean Vianney.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Also, one thing to kind of add on, you're kind of saying that he doesn't have one guy. He has 6 receivers, all I would say all have over 200 plus yards, and you have 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns. Those are the scary offenses where it doesn't matter who it is, we could burn you with anybody. It's not
Exactly.
one guy where you take away one guy and then it kind of falls apart. He literally throws the ball to every single receiver on the field. So everybody eats on the team. Everyone makes plays. Everyone scores touchdowns. Those are the scary teams to play against. Sometimes, yeah, it is kind of frustrating when you play versus a number one receiver and he kind of just tears you apart. And he has 3 touchdowns, 170 yards, but you win those games sometimes, because other guys can't come in clutch. This is a team where it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who gets the ball. It doesn't matter how many yards each player gets. It seems like I feel like he could have a game where he'll go let's just say 22 for 27. He has 5 touchdowns, but it's not one player that has 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns. It's divided to 5 players where everybody has a touchdown. The yards are kind of equal as well too, where everyone has about 30, 40 yards. So I feel like when you look at teams like that and they're kind of neutral and they have everyone, especially on offense, where everyone's kind of just getting the ball and everyone's getting involved, it's to a point where I think that's the most difficult thing to stop because as a defense, you're not really sure who to guard because everybody can make plays.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, like I said, they're deeper. That's why I'm picking them. Shout out as well to Dylan Boudreau. I know he watched the pod as well. The big man, a snapper on his team on Violings. I know he's a little disappointed. Vicious and delicious. I know they kind of got beat us. We were talking about that a little earlier, but he has a chance still to win a championship. If he get knocked off, obviously, Saint Jean Vanier in the semifinals tomorrow. The other matchup we have is the number 1 seed, like I said earlier, Speed Academy taking on the number 4 seed at Thunder Buddies. Those teams did not meet in the regular season. A lot of big names in this contest. Obviously, it starts with Will Power. He is the spark plug on this offense, right? One of the top receivers in all of FPF, but obviously as well in this division. So the Terry Babalis, of course, the quarterback, the captain of this team, veteran as well. Mathis Cousino, Simon Valiquette. This team has some playmakers, but again, it starts with Will Power for the Thunder Buddies. Looking at the other side for Speed Academy Junior, right? We've seen this guy play a lot. I'm talking about the quarterback, Felix Derry Bernard. Great quarterback, strong arm. He could run. Out of all the quarterbacks that play in this division, when you're looking at a guy who could beat you with his arms and his legs, this is that guy, Felix Derry Bernard, 30 touchdown passes. As a rusher, though, 400 rushing yards, 5 TD, averages 12 yards a clip. I've called a bunch of his championship games over the years. He could run. So it's going to be on. Interesting matchup here. Arnaud St. Jean as a rookie rusher, 4 sacks in the regular season. is going to be on him to try. You can't stop Derry Bernard from running all day, but you have to at least slow him down and make him get rid of the ball a little quicker. So it's going to be on Saint Jean to stop Derry Bernard from creating havoc on this Thunder Buddies defense.
Yeah, they're gonna struggle. So I got to watch Thunder Buddies play Texas Wales, where they got the game. It came down pretty close. Texas Wales had a drive where they could have scored and they could have made it. I think they could have tied it. But yeah, they're gonna have to maybe make a switch up with the rusher. I don't think the rusher is gonna be able to keep up with Bernard. Sorry, I don't think I personally don't think he's gonna be able to keep up. And it's to a point where sometimes I don't feel like Felix wants to run as much. I think he wants to use his legs as more. Sorry, he wants to use his arms as more. But when it comes to playoff, like you don't care if you have to run every second play. I think I watched him one. I think I watched him. I think it was co-ed 3. I forgot what team he played on, but he ran every second play, and it was to a point where like I want to use my arm, but I want to win this game. So if I have to run every second play to win this game, I'm going to run every play second game. And I think, to be honest with you, I think that's what he's going to do to kind of take advantage of this Thunder Buddy team. And again, don't get me wrong. It's a good team, but I don't think their rusher is going to be able to keep up with him. So it's either they're going to have to make a switch. I don't put someone else that's a bit faster, and then kind of have maybe Willpower kind of looking at his eyes and kind of reading him, but they're definitely going to want to have to make a switch because I don't think he's going to have a lot of mistakes where he's going to be like, okay, I'm going to throw the ball if he's able to run every second play. I think if I was him, and I'm pretty sure I've seen him done before, quick slant out to a snapper or run, slant out, run, slant out, run, slant out, take what the defense is giving to you and just try to abuse it, especially when one thing I have to realize, especially for me as a quarterback, and something I kind of regret is when playing, when I was able to use my legs, I didn't use as much. I want to throw, but it's to a point where if they want to win games, just run. Like maybe it's not as fun for everybody in your team, but if you want to win games, like win the game. Like it's to a point where okay, I want to feed the ball to everybody, but sometimes you got to be not selfish, but sometimes you got to be like, you know what, guys, I'm running. All right, come in huddle. All right, hooks doesn't work. All right, I'm running. Like because it's a loophole to a point, right? If you can run every second play, like do it. Especially if you have the advantage of doing it, why not? So I think
Listen, you brought up a good point. Like you said, it may not be as fun for the rest of the teammates. You know what's fun? Winning games, winning championships. That's the most amount of fun you're gonna have.
Yeah, exactly. And so again, I want to say I forgot what team he played for co-ed, but I believe they won that year, that championship. But
yeah.
He ran every second play. He was running, and it was to a point where like I was like, oh, like why are you running for? And I was just like, well, you know what? If it's working, why not? I think when he played for anything, Team Anything in spring 2025, where they won the championship. But it is what it is. It's to a point where tell the other team to change the rusher. If they don't want to change the rusher, just keep abusing it. So from me saying that, I'm gonna go with
Speed Academy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Speed Academy. Yeah, I was gonna say Speed Academy Junior, but they're actually just called Speed Academy.
No, Speed Academy Junior. You're right.
Oh, that's their name. Okay, sorry. So I'm gonna go with Speed Academy to beat the
Speed Academy is in division. So it's two teams. So Speed Academy is in Division 3, which I believe Derry Bernard plays for them as well. But yeah, it's two different teams, but same core, I guess, whatever. I mean, listen, he has weapons. Emile Plante, good receiver. Harry Luong, Alex Desmarais, a good two-way player for the squad. I'm interested to see who's going to cover Will Power. Will it be Derry Bernard, who's also a good defensive back, or will it be Desmarais? Both those players they combined for almost 10 picks right between the both of them. I think they combined for like 9, which is again pretty close to 10. Be interesting to see who covers Will Power. I think Derry Bernard has a stronger arm than Terry Babalis for sure. They're completely different quarterbacks. They play two completely different games. I'm going to go with Speed Academy as well. I mean, I'm friends with some people from Thunder Buddies, but I just think that Speed Academy, I think they have a deeper squad, and they have more. I think they have more speed and athleticism. I think than Thunder Buddies. Again, I think it'll be close, but I'm going to pick Speed Academy to get the W in this one.
Let's go Division 4, B. So many divisions.
So 4B. So it's a little. I was looking at the schedule earlier this morning, and it's like so it's a little different. So
Oh,
the semifinals have
yeah.
happened
Sorry,
already
go ahead.
here.
This
So I
season,
can say yeah. So
this is insane.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
yeah. So okay, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say yeah. So semifinals happen, right? We see Grab a Leaf knocking off Pacemakers. Hey, shout out to Grab a Leaf, man. We've been talking about these guys. I know we had Shamar Parkinson on the show a couple episodes ago. They're like the 12th seed. They barely got into the playoffs. They just edged out the Brewers. And listen, they're in the finals, right? They're
Yeah,
taking on balls deep.
I got to
It's about
watch them play No Flags Given, and they looked elite. Like because I got to watch them play in Chattagee a couple. I think I want to say like maybe a month ago, a month and a half ago,
yeah,
and they looked horrible. I was just like, oh my god, like okay, maybe they'll make a playoff run.
yeah,
We're kind of
yeah.
talking about it. They need to win a game to kind of get in. They need to finish 3-7. We're talking about their playoff situation, and they end up getting in. Going into it, just kind of looking down the thing, they played Flight School VC, where there was kind of scruffle going to that game. They ended up winning. Then they played No Flags Given. They made No Flags Given not look good at all. No Flags Given is a team that finished 9-1 as well too. I felt they were one of the clear winners going into this season, but I don't want to say it was a beatdown, but it was to a point where when you're in a game where the opposite team does whatever they want to do, it just works. Like the ball's overthrown, the guy somehow picks out a hand, catches it one hand, inbounds. Um,
Yeah.
you throw a ball, it gets tipped in the air, interception. Just everything bad that could have happened for No Flags Given happened, and everything good that could have happened for Grab a Leaf happened. Like it was literally a full 60. It was literally a full 360 switch. Like I was watching
Yeah,
the game, I
yeah,
was in the stands, and I was just like, I'm like, yo, what's going on here? I'm like, yo, how are they winning this game? But it was just like everything that could have. I mean, I don't want to take it away from Gabaleaf. Like they played a great game. They made plays, But that everything that was anything bad that could have happened to No Flags in that game happened. Like it just wasn't going
right,
their way.
right.
They made a couple plays. Tyler Stewart did what he had to do. It just Grab Relief was just too much, which is kind of like crazy to say just because of the season that they had. But they're hot right now. And then again, they just we kind of talked about it how they're going to the finals as well, where they played Peacemakers. They won 46-30. I do want to say is that matchup versus Peacemakers is probably one of the best matchups they could ask for because Peacemakers is not the youngest team. They're not the fastest team. They're probably one of the smartest teams. But when it comes to speed, I don't think they're able to keep up and athleticism. So I think Grab a Leaf had a great matchup when it comes to Peacemakers into the semifinals. I don't want to say Peacemakers I don't want to take too much from them. They had a great season, finished 7-3, making a deep run to semifinals. But I think that was probably one of the worst matchups that they could have got themselves into, just because Grab a Leaf is a bunch of kids, not young kids, but like they're probably I want to say mid. They're probably their average is 22, 23 regarding the roster, and it's a bunch of guys that trying to have fun. I think it's to a point where they'll take a hook and they'll score a touchdown. They'll throw jump balls, and they're getting hyped, they're getting active, they're using everything they have as motivation. I think for Peacemakers that was most likely one of the worst matchups to have because it's to a point where maybe they're not even playing flag how usually most teams play. It's like, hey, listen, run a slant, let me throw the ball to you, or yo, let me throw it up. I'm pretty sure there was a couple jump balls where Grab a Leaf ended up coming down with it, and that's the reason why they end up dropping 46 and punching their ticket to the finals.
I mean, hey, listen. Sometimes you're gonna have those games where, like you said, everything works out well for you and horribly wrong for the other team. It's gonna happen sometimes. Uh, and unfortunately, obviously, well, fortunately for Grab a Leaf, it worked out well for them. Uh, So they're taking on deep balls for this 4B championship. They met in week 10. Balls deep, sorry, had a 41-26 victory again back in week 10. So looking at the stats here. So like I looked at it first, right? I'm like, okay, so balls deep. So Justin Weir, 5 TD passes in that game. Darius Reed had 4 TDs, 3 INTs, right? So I'm looking at, I'm like, all right, going down the roster again. And when you talked before, right, about grab belief again, these are all either current or former college and university players, right?
Mhm.
Darius Reed obviously playing star receiver for Champlain. Shamar Parkinson, again, we had on the show. He's a starting running back for Mount Allison. A lot of these other guys, like Tristan Reed, former player, Jaden Edgehill, former player, right? So Trey Bentley as well, right? These guys have Chris Henry. These guys have played football at a high level. But I look at the Balls deep team. I mean, they have some good players on that team as well. Alex Blade, Matt Peacock, and those guys. But again, 41-26 victory for sorry, 41 for Balls deep in the regular season. So I have to see what happens now in the playoffs. Right, again, that was week 10. So I mean, not that long ago. It was back on March 7th. So it's not as if it was back in January or February.
Yeah.
But I expect a better Grab Leaf team. Grab Leaf's a team, right? Who, again, we talked about just squeezing into the playoffs, and right now, honestly, they're playing their best ball of the season, and it's at the perfect time, right? It took a while to kind of get their feet wet. Because some of these guys were playing in FPF Junior this time last year, right? I remember doing a scorekeeping a game where Darius was playing for LaSalle Warriors at FPF Junior, and some of these guys weren't playing FPF at all, right? So it took them a while to kind of get their footing, right? They finished the regular season 3-7. But I'm looking at it right here, right? With that 3-7 record, again, they lost to the Dirty Dogs in the final game of the regular season. She lost to one goal as well. Anyways,
Yeah,
they're
they're
playing better, not their best, I guess you say, but they're playing better football right now. And in the playoffs, right? They've advanced to this point, right? A big W to get to this point. So we're gonna have to see if they can keep it alive against Balls Deep again. Balls Deep, a veteran team, so it's gonna be interesting to see who's gonna come out on top of that one.
yeah. To be honest, they were not playing great football by the end of the regular season. They're playing great playoff football. Like
Yeah,
regular
yeah,
season, they lost versus one goal by 14, lost versus Dirty Dogs by
yeah,
15, got
yeah,
off Brewers by 10, lost versus Deep Balls by 15, played Peacemakers. Peacemakers beat them 37-12. And they come back and
yeah.
knock them in the playoffs
Surprising,
by
yeah, yeah,
46. So they're right now they're on a playoff run. They're not on a streak for regular. They're on a playoff run where it's to a point where you're in our way. We're gonna move you. Like, we're gonna move you.
yeah,
We're gonna
yeah.
boss you. We're gonna juke you. We're gonna do whatever we have to do. We're gonna do. The
Yeah.
matchup again. I don't want to go too much in the matchup between these two teams, but I think they're gonna. I think Balls Deep is a team where it should be way better. We should have a good finals. I'll leave it like that. We should have a
Yeah,
good finals.
yeah. I like the matchup. So with Justin Weir and Darius, they're exactly the same quarterback. They're the same exact guys.
Yeah,
Really athletic
exactly.
guys who can run around. They haven't seen a deep ball that they don't like. I will say that.
Mhm. Yeah, and then
Yeah,
again, big win for Balls Deep being the Studs too, right? So they knocked
yeah,
out. I want to
yeah.
say the Studs were the fourth seed, so they got a huge win versus the Studs,
They
and
were.
they only allowed. I just want to put up here playoffs. I think So they had it was a big shootout, but they're able to outscore the Studs, scoring 39, and only allowing the Studs to score 32. Where I want to say the Studs had one of the number one offenses this season. Playoffs. I'm in playoffs. I don't want to be in playoffs. I just want to look at it really quick. This is 4B. I think I'm pretty sure the
Yeah,
Studs have the number one or one. I think they had a firepower offense. Yeah, they scored 374 points this year. Where Balls Deep only scored 326. So Balls Deep were able to kind of go over their average
yeah,
and win the game. So big win for them, especially as the eighth seed. So we're gonna have a 8 versus 12 seed in the finals, which doesn't happen quite often.
yeah. That is true. That is true.
For
Okay,
it,
so let's go to 4A. So 4A is a lot of the same, right? We had the semifinals already that took place, pardon me, in Division 4A. So, pardon me, in that division, looking at it right here, is waiting for to come on my screen here. Yeah, so the semifinal matches took place back on May 3rd. So we had Trap Stars knocking off the Penetrators blowout 39-18. Trap Stars, of course, the number one seed in this conference, in this division, sorry. And then we had Ambush, number 5 seed, knocking off Back to the Future, again, another blowout, 37-19. How surprised are you that we had two consecutive blowouts in the semifinals?
Regarding Trap Stars, I mean, I'm not a bit surprised just because the two teams. I thought Back to the Future and Ambush would have been a closer game, but I think Ambush kind of just
Yeah.
took advantage of this whole situation and they made things work. And then Trap Stars again. Trap Stars is probably one I said I was on Trap Stars from the beginning of the year. They've been one of the top teams for the past few years now. Pretty sure they won a championship too, so they've been kind of like leading the pack. So I'm not that surprised, especially the fact that the Penetrators finished their season as a 7th seed. So you have the 7th seed versus the 1st seed. So that's not that surprising. I'm more surprising how the Ambush took out Back to the Future, how we had the 5th seed versus the 6th seed, and both of these teams were kind of alike, right? Ambush this year scored 306 points, allowed 250. Back to Future scored 307, allowed 233. So I'm more kind of surprised how that game was kind of a blowout compared to the Trap Stars game, but it's playoffs and we've seen crazier things. So
True. Very true. Very true. Looking at the regular season, Trap Stars and Ambush did go head to head. That was back in week 9. Trap Stars with a 27-24 victory over Ambush. So obviously, Ambush is going to look to get a little revenge and get the chip. Of course, we're going to preview that game on next week's episode. I will say, though, I expect another close game to come down to the wire between Trap Stars and Ambush.
yeah, should be a good game. Division 3.
Yes, sir. So same thing with Div 3. We had the semifinals already that took place. So it sets up a finals matchup. It's going to be between the number 2 seed, the Rancers. So they finished the regular season 8-2. They advanced to the finals by knocking off Caroline 41-26. And then we have the REIT. They knocked off Terror Squad 39-28. So the REIT are the number 5 seed. They finished the regular season with a 7-2-1 record. So a battle of the number 2 seed and Rancers against the number 5 seed, the REIT, for the Division 3 championship, of course, scheduled to take place next weekend.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
no, I was gonna say the Rancers they're doing a great job right now. They knocked out a strong One Diesel team that, to be honest with you, I thought was gonna be either a finals. I thought One Diesel was probably gonna be one of the teams that are gonna make it to the finals.
Yeah, for
To
sure.
knock them out in the quarters is a big game for them, and also they knocked out. They ended up playing the Hustlers, which was a pretty good matchup for them as a 14 seed, and they won the last play of the game actually. So it's kind of interesting to see how they got into the finals. But yeah, they won the last play of the game. I believe the receiver was Nicholas Boucher. He ended up doing I saw a video. He ended up doing a deep out. Like the quarterback was like at his 20-yard line or midfield. Does a quick out. Does a deep out back of the end zone. You have Isaiah Allard, you got other receiver, other defender too. He ends up catching it just over both of these guys, and he gets a game-winning touchdown. And he sends his team to the finals. So that was kind of interesting to see how they got there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, and so to go back to what you're saying with their victory over Win Diesel, they held Win Diesel to a season low 19 points, right? I mean, Will Seabag, Felix Seabag, that offense is lethal, right? Win Diesel, they've been a really one of the top rated
Yeah,
offenses, period, and no matter what division they're playing in. Season low 19 points, that speaks volumes about the REIT defense.
yeah, no, exactly. The Rancers defense.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Rancers
the
defense, sorry.
Rancers, yeah,
Yeah, the Rancers,
but
sorry.
exactly what you're saying. But there's a reason why that they finished the season only allowing 205 points a game. They're allowing 20 points a game. So to be honest, they're just spot on for when no, sorry, wait. The Lancers played Caroline. Sorry, you're right. The Reed played. We're looking at two different teams, I believe. But sorry, you're talking about the Reed now.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my
No, so no. Okay, so hold on. So let me go back here. So no, I was talking like I was talking about Wendy's. Yeah, the Reed. Yeah, exactly. The Reed. Sorry, with
yeah,
Wendy's. Okay, yeah, you're talking about the Ratchets. Yeah, okay,
yeah, exactly.
okay,
Well, I'll
exactly.
just finish with the Rancers saying like
Okay,
I'll finish with what I say.
it's my bad.
We'll
It's
get
my bad.
yeah, but anyways, I just want to say the Rancers right now they're on fire. They're doing a great job. Again,
Yeah.
two big wins, getting to the quarters and now the semis, and now they just have to kind of push the last ticket to get into they have to win the last game now where it all matters, right? No one really cares how your season ended. They end up finishing as a 2 seed, but again, they finish as number 1 seed, and they're not here right now. You have Eastway finish the 3rd seed, Terra Squad, all these teams, right? At the end of the day, all that matters is the finals, but they're doing a great job, and it's going to be a great matchup between the REIT and the Rancers into the finals, and then now we go to the REIT.
Yeah, so with the Reed, okay, so like we say, right, obviously they coming off a big victory. Uh, holding out, what are we holding Wendy's with the 19 points, but again, a big victory over Terra Squad, right? So I came into this game thinking, okay, Terra Squad against the Reed again. Reed, a bunch of some former Concordia guys, and there's a lot of athletes, right? I mean, you have Nick Gropini on the team, Santino Sperano, obviously Keon, Dante Sperano, all those guys. I don't think they have firepower. They got some speed. Shout out the Eagles on this team as well. I just thought though, okay, you got Terror Squad, right? One of the foundational teams of FPF, right? You got Tam, you got the Hall of Famer at quarterback, you got Vince Malo, David Santomo,
Yeah, yeah.
Jean-Francois Marquis, all these guys. They've
That's
been
on the
around
side.
for forever. Lawrence Olivier Vian. I thought they get the win. I'm a bit shocked at the outcome.
Yeah, they were missing their number one receiver, Noah. Noah, I forgot his last name. Noah
Terror
Long.
Squad?
No. Sorry.
Oh, no chance. Yeah,
Yeah, Lawrence Lachance. Sorry, if
no
pronounced it.
chance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're missing a receiver. He was at the Team Canada tryouts. So I mean that it is a big factor to kind of lose your number one, not having your number receiving there. But it doesn't go the fact that Tam still threw 3 INTs going to this game, and I think that was the biggest issue. The game finished 39-28. Halftime was 14-19, so it was still reachable. But you have Santono's that he went 16 for 30, 197 yards, 6 TDs, and then you have Tam that went 16 for 23, 209 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 INTs. So I think that's one of the biggest factor. Even the fact that Terror Squad didn't have a number one receiver, it still doesn't show the fact that Tam still threw 3 INTs at the end of the day. So
Yeah, yeah, it's true. That's right. Again, like I said, he's a veteran guy, right? And he'd be the first to say it, right? Like, it was a bad game for him. It's surprising again because he's a guy that in the playoffs, you want to rely on, right? And you know as well from playing with like shot o'clock, right? Like if you guys go with him at quarterback instead of Jimmy Lee Janvier, you guys make the playoffs, right? And he's just a guy. He's won multiple championships, and he's in the Hall of Fame for a reason, right? So it's a bit surprising that him and the rest of his supporting cast, right, just didn't find a way to pull it out. Against a good team, against a
mhm.
good team in the REIT. I'm again not trying to throw any shade on the REIT. They are a good team. It is what it is. But I just thought Terra Squad with their veteran experience and the veteran playmakers they have, I thought they'd be able to find a way to get it done. But
Yeah,
that's why you got
trust
to
me.
play the game.
You did, I did, Terror Squad did. I think probably the only people that didn't think they're going to do that is the Reeds.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's true.
Division
Okay.
two.
Yes,
'Cause,
sir.
yeah,
So yeah, I will say I have an article that it'll be coming out later today for Division Two. So I'm not gonna go. Well, I mean, obviously for next week we have the finals, but I mean, I'll be recapping some of the semifinals that we have here. So looking at the matchups. So for our semifinal matchups, we have the number 1 seed LeBron Taraj. They're taking on the number 7 seed in Hard Eight. So
yeah.
that should be a big matchup there.
That's a crazy roster. To be honest with you, their
Yeah,
roster vamped up completely from what they had. Having Anthony Brisebois and Gab Champagne is insane as a defense. And then you kind of have the fillers where you have a veteran Paul, you have Sanders, you have Nicholas Gropini. It's a scary team to play against. I think to be honest, their biggest flaw is Jacob Saxner as a
Saxner, yeah.
rusher. I think that's I think that's their biggest flaw with this team. You have Mac also as well too, great defender. And then when Jeff is on, he's on. But just having a back end where you have Mac, Gab, Breeswall, Sanders, and Nick as a defensive front is a scary team to kind of look at. Division two again, it is stacked to kind of see, but it's very strong a roster to kind of look at for Hard Day right now.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, all those guys you mentioned, they're going to need all those guys to try to slow down some of the receivers right on this LeBron Taraj offense, right? So
Yeah,
I'm talking obviously about Dante Spiragna, right? He's one of the top receivers on this offense. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about obviously the best receiver. Some people might even say in this entire division, right? Jeremy Murphy, you got Emerson Peterkin, even Ahmed Bubakar will come in and play some offense for them and help them out, right? So I mean, and closing Clairville as well. So this team can ball. It's going to be like big names on defense against big names on offense, and the same thing for the reverse, right? These guys on LeBron Taraj's defense, led by Ahmed Bubakar, right? These guys can play some ball. So it's going to be can they slow down some of the receivers that you talked about, obviously with Hard Eight. I'll give you a spoiler from my article. I'm picking this as my game of the week. I think it's going to be a shootout. Young cat again. We talked about Phil Peltier. He keeps getting it done. I know he's giving shout outs to the podcast there. He's getting it done, and his team, they love all the haters and the people that are counting them out, and they continue to get it done. So credit to these boys on getting it done. But Peltier going against Rosenblatt, like I said, when Jeff is on, he's on. So he's going to need to be on though, to knock off LeBron Taraj and what I expect to be a really, really good game
yeah,
tomorrow.
this is definitely going to be the game of the week. That's because you have so many good athletes on both sides of the ball. So it's gonna
Exactly.
be interesting to
Exactly.
see offense and defense too. Who's gonna kind of be able to kind of take it over, and who's gonna be able to not take over. So it's gonna be it's again, if you want to see a game with tons of athletes and guys making plays and stuff like that, it's definitely gonna be this one.
I will say LeBron Taraj, they played them in week 10. They played Hard Eight and Chateauguay. LeBron Taraj had a 42-34 victory in that previous matchup. So Paul Lapierre actually threw, just Jeff Rosenblatt wasn't there. Paul Lapierre threw, good quarterback as well, with 5 TDs, 2 INTs. Peltier was on fire, man. Peltier went 18 of 26, 199 yards. Pardon me, so it wasn't even Peltier. Sorry, Emerson Peterkin. Sorry, my apologies. Peterkin threw. So Peterkin had 199 yards, 6 TD passes in that game. Jeremy Murphy caught 3 and Dante Spiragna caught 3, right? So
Yeah,
two backup quarterbacks, I guess you could say, but Rosenblatt and Peltier should be there in the rematch. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens in that one. But again, 42-34, LeBron Taraj beating Hard Eight back in week 10.
yeah. To both quarterbacks out there. Also, Harday was missing Anthony Breeswell and Sanders, not at that game. So I think just
Okay,
that
that's
back
huge,
end
yeah.
to have Breeswell, um, Sanders, and Gab in that back end, it's scary. But then again, LeBron Taraj kind of has the same effect as well too with their back end as well too with Mendel, Jeremy, and whoever else they have. I'm pretty sure they have. I'm not familiar with all the names, but Mendel, Jeremy, and Bakari again as well too, right? I'm pretty much sure if Dawson's eligible to play, but Muhammad as well too. He's a great defender to help that back end as too. So again, it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be a crazy game. Um, Going into the next game, right? We have Idaho.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Here.
Pimps, number 4 seed against 6 seed Silent Ticklers. So this is interesting. So in my last article, I picked the Silent Ticklers for the upset special. They're coming off a big upset win actually. They knocked off Camping Bhutan. They beat them by 12, 40-28. So I picked them in the quarterfinal. So congrats to those boys on getting it done. Had a chance to talk to Tanner Burrell, their snapper, the day after that game, and he goes, "Yeah, we got off to a crappy start." He goes, "First snap of the game, I snapped it over Jordan Pineda's head and went for a safety." But he goes, he gave himself credit. He goes, that was it. That was the spark that we needed. He goes, after that, we played lights out and we got the W. So I'm like, all right, nice.
The
Idaho
first
the Pimps, they put the nail in the coffin of the Bruins season again. The Bruins 5-0. They lost pretty much every
yeah,
single game after that for the most part. They got smoked 30 to 12. So again, the Bruins, their season is thankfully for
that's
them, it's over. LeBron tries beating the Stoics 35-19 to advance, and then KGP Legends losing to Hard Eight. I picked Hard Eight in that game. So an upset there, 39-34. Looking at the regular season meeting between Silent Ticklers and Idaho Ute Pimps, Silent Ticklers actually knocked them off in week 9, an upset by a score 34-28. So for Silent Ticklers, again, they knocked off Captain Boutin, and they're proven already they can beat Idaho Ute Pimps, right? So it's I think this matchup is going to be close. I've always liked I've appreciated the Silent Ticklers team. I usually do pick against them more often than not because I find that they find a way to kind of not disappoint, but they kind of get in their own way sometimes. I will say though, now Idaho Ute Pimps lost to Silent Ticklers. Brady Hennessy wasn't playing. It was Ivan Salomon who filled in at quarterback. Did a pretty good
yeah.
job,
I remember that.
212 yards, 4 TDs. But again, Yvonne to Brady, that's a bit of a drop off. No shade at Yvonne, but I think he'd be the first one to tell you that. Um, Silent Tickers again, a veteran squad, man. I always think with this team, if you look at their roster, right, you take away mistakes like Jordan Panetta, top notch quarterback. Daniel Mancini, he can make an argument for being the best receiver in Division Two, and definitely one of the best receivers, period, in FPF. Right, you have a former Alouette and Tyson Otis Copeland. Adam Rosen's a playmaker. Jack Antaki's a playmaker. They added Ben McMahon this year. Tanner Burrell, Mike Zanobi, a bunch of good dudes that have a lot of experience and they know how to win. Just I find when the deeper in the playoffs this team gets, they start making a mistake here and a mistake there, and it comes back to bite them. Again, they knocked off Campy Boutin, so all the credit in the world to them. I think it's going to be tougher, though, to knock off Idaho Ute Pimps, especially assuming Brady is going to play, right? Because you look at this lineup, you got Brady, obviously, a quarterback. You got Marvin Steinberg. You got Manuel Roy, right? Yeah, Derek, Dana Colom is his number one receiver. Sam Asistopoulos, right? James Nguyen. Like this team is deep. It's a lot of the same guys over and over for Idaho Ute Pims or Ute Pims Idaho, whichever they want to call themselves. Obviously, it's Idaho Ute Pims this time around, but this team has been together as well, right? And they won championships and they played in a ton of big games. I think talent wise, it's pretty even. Um, I just think that Idaho Ute Pims I want to say they use more of the roster than Silent Ticklers do. Am I wrong to think that, or
Sorry, repeat your question.
like, I think that Idaho Ute Pimps they're at their best when they're using their entire roster. I think they use their roster top to bottom a bit more than the Silent Ticklers do. I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, they both have I think they're kind of similar, both the teams, but they do have different weapons. I feel like Idaho, like you have Dondre, that's probably I want to say one of the top
Yeah.
receivers on Idaho.
Yep.
Just want to go down and check the stats. Yeah, so you have So actually, no, Dondre's. You have Manu, you have Dondre, you have Marvin that's back, you have Sam. I feel like you just have more names on Idaho. Again, I feel like he, as kind of Zucker is saying, he does use more of his receivers, and they're more based. They're most like it's kind of we're kind of saying with the other team we are kind of talking about. I think it was Veer Linux, or it was I think it was Veer Linux. How they're kind of spreading the ball more around their guys. Where you have Danik at 11 touchdowns. You have James at 9. You have Dondre at 14. Manu at 5. Marvin at 9. Then you have Sam at 4. Everyone's around like 200 yards. I didn't look at Silent Tickler's offense yet, but I kind of want to say that Brady does spread the ball more around his guys. And I feel like when he does that, which he usually does, it's the reason why they have so much success. And it kind of shows also one other thing that's like, okay, maybe Danik is not going to score 2 touchdowns, but you're going to have James scores 1, Dontre scores 1, Danik will score 1, Manu score 1. When we played against these guys, I want to say back in week 6 with 7, I kind of want to say they kind of everyone scored touchdowns. It wasn't like one guy that was killing us. I think it was Brady was able to spread the ball, and he was able to rely on all his receivers to kind of make plays. When you look at it towards Silent Ticklers, or again stack roster as well too, but I think they kind of rely more on um they rely more on Daniel Manzini, where he's kind of the go-to guy for most of the case, and then you have Adam Rosen, and then regarding those are the targets guys where you're throwing the ball to. If you're looking after that, right? If I tell you the offense is Daniel, Adam, Ben, Tyson, which he's more of a defensive player. Then you have Tanner. I mean, regarding Ben, where he's kind of slippery at times, but if you kind of take away Daniel and Adam, you'll feel more comfortable compared to Idaho, where they just have 4 or 5 other guys that if you take away Dondre, you take away Danik, then you have to deal with Manu and stuff like that, where it just kind of adds on to their firepower. So I think that's the difference between both these teams. I feel like it's like Danny Manzini, Adam Rosen, and then okay maybe Ben, and then after that there's no one really. I don't really see like I don't think I even see Tyson really like for the amount of years I've been playing. I don't think I have seen Tyson really catch a ball, which is kind of crazy to say, but I just don't see him playing offense as well. So I feel like it's those two guys where it's like okay sorry Danny Manzini, and then Adam Rosen. You take those guys out the picture, take them out the red zone, take them out certain things like that, and then that's where I feel like Silent Tickers kind of crumble to a point.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's kind of what I was saying, right? I mean, I think like uh, when I say using more of the roster, I mean, yeah, there's not the back half, but like they from all the starters, all the guys that are playing, like you got to get a bit more production out of the players, the receivers. I guess was what you're saying for Idaho Ute Pimps. I have seen Tyson Otis Copeland catch. He catches a lot of deep ball. He's athletic, right? He has size. Again, former defensive back. He does. He's pretty good on those deep balls. And so I know Jordan Panetta will throw him some of those, have him run those deep routes, those go routes. So yeah, you're right. I think you're right about what you're saying. Sorry. I think that Idaho Ute Pimps they have a deeper roster in terms of playmakers than Silent Ticklers do. So it's gonna be interesting to see, like you talked about, obviously with Rosen and Mancini, how Idaho Ute Pimps, how their defense tries to take them out of the game, right? Because last time they can slow down the Silent Ticklers offense, although much again, Silent Ticklers getting the W, 34-28 back in week 9, in that game. That's
Yeah,
interesting to see.
it's gonna be a good matchup.
Who are you picking?
Uh, I'm gonna go Idaho. I'm gonna go Idaho, and then I'm gonna go. So Idaho is the first team, and then I'm gonna go. Sorry, I'm blanking. I'm gonna go Idaho, and I'm gonna go Hardy
Okay.
because I'm a
Okay.
LeBron Toronto hater, so I gotta stick with my.
King of the haters, all right. Okay. I mean, my article's going to come out later today, so I'll have my picks there. But I mean, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be after the article does, so it's fine. I want to go. I'm with you on Idaho Ute Pimps. Again, I really like what Silent Ticklers did. I like the fact that they knocked off Campy Boutin. I just think that Idaho Ute Pimps are a different animal than Campy Boutin. So I'm going to go Idaho Ute Pimps. And I think this game's going to be tight. LeBron Taraj and Hardy again, my pick for game of the week, man. You know what? You know what? I'm going to say LeBron Taraj. On a roll with LeBron Taraj. They got it done the first time again. The battle of backup quarterbacks. Um, Emerson Peterkin is no slouch at QB. Maybe he could play a little quarterback. Him and Phil Peltier, a little double quarterback action. Right, we'll have to see. Uh, Paul Lapierre and Jeff Rosenblatt. I mean, I think they're pretty even as quarterbacks. Jeff is the better quarterback over Paul, but I mean, Jeff will be back for this rematch. And I do appreciate the fact that you're saying obviously that back end is superb for hard eight. I just think out of who you to pinch, right? They finished first. They've been proving all the doubters wrong. I think they do it one more time. I think they pull off the up. It's not even an upset, really. They're the favorites again. They're the number one seed. Hard eight's a seven. But I know a lot of people are picking hard eight. I think that gives enough motivation, some bulletin board material. I'm picking LeBron Taraj.
Okay. Let's finish with Division One.
Yeah.
Division One. So we kind of had the playoffs where kind of I think we talked. So we talked about fins up and vultures. That's the only thing we kind of talked about because that's the only game that was played. Party Crash take care of business. Easy W. Infantry gets blown out by Braves, 46-6. So I kind of feels like Kevin Wyatt kind of checked out for the remaining of the season. The score of 6 points is kind of insane. I believe Braves had 2 pick sixes in that
Yeah.
game, and they just dominated. And then one stop taking out Royal Laminar
That's over there. Yeah,
18
yeah,
to
yeah.
6. So one stop, great job on their defense, only allowing 6 points going into this matchup. So we got to see two. We got to see pretty much the closest game was Fins Up versus Vultures. Other than
Yeah.
that, pretty much blowouts by teams losing by more than double digits. And then now we have a sick matchup between One Stop versus Party Crashers, where One Stop. The last time they played Party Crashers, I want to say they scored 0 points.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's 41-0. 41
yeah.
nothing back in week 4.
So I think for One Stop, it's a little redemption here. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think you could be worse than 0 points, right? So
Oh, you can't.
no pressure on scoring more points. I think it's more the point where you're gonna have to score points, right? That back end of that Party Crash defense is not to joke around. They've been deadly this year. It's kind of the reason why they finished 10-0. By far the most scariest defense out there. Offense is also doing a great job, they're right now they're excelling, right, from week 1 to week 14, 15. They're basically proving why they're undefeated, why they're having the season they are, even though they played a weak Easy W team. They only allowed 12 points, so they did a great job only allowing Jeremy White and his offense to only score 12. And now they're playing versus a one-stop team that last time they did play against, they did struggle. So that's going to
Yeah.
be an interesting matchup to see if one stops is be able to score on this Party Crashers defense.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, going back to that, Matt, again, 41-0. That's just wow. Mike Caparelli, we've had him on the show before, 90 yards, 4 INTs. It doesn't get any worse than that. Shout out to Fitzgerald, sent us 3 TDs in that game. Johns Lee Alexi, obviously, threw for a couple of touchdown passes. He also had a pick 6 as a defender, right? So, I mean, that was just a complete blowout. I don't think it's going to be that one-sided this time. I'll tell you right now, I'm picking Party Crashers to advance. I think it'll be a bit closer of a game. I expect Cabrelli to have a completely different game this time around, but I just don't think it's going to be enough, unfortunately, for one stop. I know a lot of people as well are picking the Party Crashers as well. Again, 10-0, right? That path to perfection. That's their goal, right? They want to finish off with a championship. To do that, they're gonna have to knock off either the Vultures or the Braves. That's the second matchup. The Braves are number 2 seed, Vultures number 3. Vultures beat the Braves actually on week 1, 26-7. The Braves getting revenge though in week 12, knocking off the Vultures 42-26. So both teams obviously splitting the regular season series, one apiece. I know in that first matchup though for the Braves, they were without Joe Maya, right? So it was Gab, Dab Champagne starting at quarterback, 226 yards, which is impressive. He had 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Guillaume Ballon came in for a couple of trick plays. He threw an INT as well, right? Ben McMahon, shout out to him, 20 of 23 in that first meeting, 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. Anthony Beasball and Daniel Mancini, we talked about earlier, getting 2 touchdowns apiece. James Drysdale had 3 catches, 103 yards, and a touchdown. So we go back to the second meeting, right? Obviously, Joe Maia is there. A little bit different, right? Instead of scoring 7, they dropped 42 on the Vultures. Joe Maia in that game had 6 TD passes, 4 of them to Jeremy Murphy, right? And then 2 to James Drysdale. So a lot different of an outcome the second time around. Obviously, very short-handed the first time, not so much the second time around. How do you see this rematch, third and final meeting going between these two teams?
I think it's going to be a good matchup. Again, we had Ben that's playing amazing this year, quarterback of the year. He's kind of showing everyone that he's able to compete with the best of the best, and it's amazing to kind of see him, Ben, from the fact that he started in Division 6, and then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, and then 1, and now he's kind of here. He's kind of proving his name. He's gonna have to have a really good game. To be honest, he's gonna have a really good game. I know the first matchup, John Mayer wasn't there. Vultures took advantage of that. Second matchup, Antonio Breezewell wasn't there for the Vultures, so that's kind of a big loss for them, losing 42 to 26. So both times we're missing a few players. Both times they're missing a few players on each side. But again, it's gonna be real. I think it's gonna be really based on Ben and what he could do, especially for his legs as well too. I think Xavier is gonna Emil from Braves. I believe he's probably gonna rush. I want to
Oh, Santa
say
Bear, yeah.
since they don't have Isaiah right now. Sorry.
Right.
Um, Sorry, give me 1 second. Yeah, so since I think it's gonna be a big rush situation, uh, in that instance. But again, the Braves are the Braves. They've always been the Braves. There's a reason why they have so many champions. There's a reason why they always get to the finals. So I'm not saying the Vultures are not going to be able to knock them out, but they're going to have a perfect game. Like Ben's going to have a perfect game if he wants to lead his team for a win. Vultures defense is also really good too as well. They had some great
Yeah.
add-ons with their roster this year for this season. Usually, we're one of these teams. Whenever we talk about Vultures, we always say they don't have a defense. This year, Benny kind of did what he had to do, and he has a defense this year. They added again, they added Felix Clement, which is was a good add-on. Um, and they added Zachary De Jonat Bouzvet. I think and Oliver Jolie. I believe they're two former players from Sherbrooke. So they
Yeah,
got a
I know
great.
Joliet for sure. Yeah.
So they got two great players to kind of help their defense, and then you have Anthony Briswa, you have Ahmed Abubakar as well too. So just a bunch of studs to be able to stop the bleeding where teams are trying to score. Usually it's usually a shootout with this team, right? It's like first one to 50 wins the game. Looking at this year for Vultures, they only allowed 297 points per game, where usually they're at the 400 mark. So they did a great job on adding some new players and a great job how Benny's playing this year. But again, they're gonna have to have a perfect game and at least I want to say at least one or two stops if they want to get the win on against the Braves.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. You're going to have to get a stop, right? Probably 2, and you can't turn over the ball, right? It's simple as that. Against the Braves, they feast off of that. You
Mhm.
can't stop their offense. Even if you stop their offense maybe once, then they'll try to get a pick or 2 from you or turnover on downs or 2 from you, and then they'll turn those turnovers into points, right? And that's how they beat you, along with obviously elite execution. So yeah, if you're Benny and the Vultures, you have to protect the ball. You have to score on every drive, and you have to get at least one stop in that game to get the W.
Mhm.
Yeah, so good luck to those teams that are playing. And we have a lot of games taking place tomorrow in Brassard. So I know you'll be there. I'll be there as well, catching a lot of these games. So I know I'm looking forward to the action tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting Saturday for FPF.
Yes, sir. It will be. I think
All
we're
right. So that don't forget, the finals are taking place next weekend. That is going to be May I believe the 16th and 17th, I want to say. And am I right? It is going to be, yeah, I believe that 16th, yeah, 16th to 17th. So 16th to Saturday, 17th to Sunday. Talking to the president, Jeff Rosenblatt, he told me the first set of games, his final schedule, pardon me, hasn't come out yet, but he told me the first game is supposed to be going on air on obviously the FPF YouTube channel and I believe Facebook Live and all that at 11 a.m. So 11 a.m. on the 16th, that's the Saturday, and then on the 17th of May as well on a Sunday. The first games are scheduled to kick off at 11 a.m. So make sure if you can't come out to Bassard to watch on our YouTube channel and catch it on Facebook. Again, we have the instant replay, which is unique just for the finals here in FPF, where there's going to be a ton of cameras there catching every single angle. There's going to be post-game interviews, obviously trophy presentations, banner presentations. Come out, grab some food, grab a bite, grab something to drink with us, hang out. I know Quaysie and I are going to be calling some games together. It's going to be an exciting time. Again, that's going to be May 16th and 17th, this Saturday and this Sunday at in Brassard at Complex CN. And like I said, the action starts at 11 a.m. Spring season is scheduled to kick off May 21st. So that's in about now at this point, under 2 weeks. So again, if you haven't registered yourself yet, I know team registration has already closed. It was extended by about a day or two on FlagPlusFootball.com. So that is closed. But if you're an individual and you're looking for a team, get onto the FPF, get onto the Facebook group, right? And join the FPF Facebook group, become a member, and you can post your stats. If you play before, if you haven't played before, it doesn't matter. Just get on there, say, hey, I'm looking for a team, whether you're a guy or a girl, get on there, say you're looking for a team, and I guarantee you someone will bite and someone will get back to you either the same day or maybe a day or two later. Because again, I know some teams haven't been finalized yet. So if you're looking for a place to play, get onto the FPF Facebook group and let it be known that you're looking to join a squad, either 5v5 or 6v6.
Yep, that's exactly it.
All right, so that'll do it for this latest episode of FlagPlus Football's First and Goal podcast. Again, semifinals taking place Saturday, tomorrow in Brassard, so go out and check it out. And again, like I said, finals May 16th and 17th. Big shout out to Omar, who's our producer for the show. And this is it. We'll see you next time. And come out, like I said, hit up the semifinals. And if not, make sure you make it to the finals, May 16th and 17th down in Brassard. Have a good one and have a great weekend.
Peace.
Put the place up.